notorious for getting too hot, and because it gets too hot, the car tries to vapor lock, but because it's fuel injected, it won't vapor lock. You just lose horrific amounts of horsepower. So what I've done is, you can go buy the thermal insulation blankets from a racing shop, and this is not bubble wrap from Home Depot. That stuff will melt. This is under hood. It has to take the heat. The fuel lines have been wrapped all the way down, all the way around. The air conditioning box has been wrapped as well. That really cuts down on the heat. The problem that you have with this particular design is the catalytic converters are right by the engine on each side of the exhaust. So you get this chimney effect, and it just basically barbecues both sides of the engine. So this is one of the issues that was resolved. The car has much more power now, and even in the hottest days, you don't have an issue with the engine becoming sluggish because the fuel overheats. Another issue on the car is the computer does not turn the fans on at the right time. So you can't fix that unless you happen to own the software to reprogram that. But our good German friends that make Volkswagen sell a variable rheostat system. If you look here, there is a thermocoupler that measures temperature on the upper intake. The upper inlet hose, this intake hose right here, basically what happens is, this is where all the hot water comes out of the engine, goes into the radiator. So this is how your water flows. It pulls the water in the bottom, it pushes it out the top. So this is the hottest water coming out of the car. If you look down here, there's two relays. These two relays control the fans. What I've done is I have spliced into the circuit of the two relays with a variable rheostat. I don't know if you can see it. This is off a Volkswagen from like 1978.
Let's get a light on there, Vaughn. Sorry. Beautiful.
Okay, so this variable rheostat is adjustable. It measures the temperature here, and it will close the circuit given where you turn the variable rheostat. So you can turn the fans on and off when you want. It's like $28 for the part at your local parts store, and you basically get this control unit for a Volkswagen. This one came off a Volkswagen Rabbit. So it looks pretty professional. You can't really tell unless you're looking for it. The nice part is it does not affect the computer system in the car. If you use the Snap-on computer scanner, the computer scanner will tell you that the computer cannot control the fans. That is because that controls the fans now. No big deal. It does not affect the performance. It doesn't throw a check engine light on. But the nice part is, instead of getting to 228 before the fans kick on, you can turn them on at 180. And we live in Las Vegas, Nevada, so this car runs really hot out here. You can't really see it, but there's another one in here. There is a $777 Griffin all-aluminum radiator buried inside this box. The factory ones, and I don't know if you can get a shot of the side tank. Yeah, I guess you can. You can see in there. Can you get a look in here? Under this hose, right here. Look in that way. Yes, you can see it. That is a Griffin all-aluminum radiator with aluminum tanks. The factory one has plastic tanks. The plastic tanks have a notorious tendency to crack. So by using an all-aluminum radiator, you get about a gallon more antifreeze in the system. So between that, the insulation on the fuel lines, the variable rheostat to turn the fans on early, and a cooler thermostat, this car can brave the heat in Las Vegas. When I moved here in 2003, the first thing that happened to this car is the water pump blew. Then the radiator blew. Then the water pump blew again. Then the radiator blew again. After the second radiator, I went with the Griffin radiator. After having the extra coolant, it didn't get as hot, but it still got hot. That's when I went and I wrapped the lines. After wrapping the lines, the car performed better, but when it's 130 degrees out, it is hot out. So that's when I put the variable rheostat in to control the fans, and the other part was I put a cooler thermostat in. So the whole point is you want to keep this thing under 192. 192 is great. The car actually runs at 220. 242 is the ragged edge of barbecuing an engine. If you look at the NASCAR engines, 242 is it. It is where you get the most horsepower, but you better have lots of airflow. The problem that the rest of us have is we're not doing 180, 200 miles an hour around a roundy-round track. So we don't have sufficient airflow when you've got that kind of temperature involved. So the reality is you're looking at about 220. So if you can keep it between 180 and 220, you're okay. As soon as you crest 220 and you're stuck in traffic, you're barbecuing parts.